Fate Zero is my favorite anime of all time. It's got literally everything I need in a show. It's got action, romance, and my god, the best animation you have seen in any show ever. So why is it that it just isn't recognized enough as such? Well, that's what we're here to find out. Hello everyone, my name's KD, and welcome to the first episode of Red Ink Reviews. The story of Fate Zero is probably the first thing that sets people off and makes them not want to watch the show, mostly because it's the same kind of rehashed storytelling that's been told over and over again. Though I will give them props on trying to change it up a bit. Instead of using the same rehashed system of draw and you are the chosen one and you get to fight in the Hunger Games, they actually have the contestants willingly volunteer to play, which is kind of awesome. And by volunteering, I mean volunteering as a possible candidate. The real decider is, of course, the Holy Grail, this omnipotent wish-granting device that, given the right conditions, will grant you one wish that will come true no matter what it is. So naturally, a lot of people will want to go for it, but it takes one who has the strongest will and the strongest kind of desire to actually achieve it. And that is actually what the Grail is looking for. But wait, there's more, because not only is each member a mage and not some teenage girl whose decisions means nothing, shout out to the Hunger Games even though that series sucked, they are grown adults. Yes, grown adult mages. We finally get to see a Battle Royale-esque setting where the adult is in charge, where the adults, I should say, is in charge, because there are 7 of them competing for, like I said, this omnipotent wish-granting device. Now, a twist that Jenny Robucci did a really great job inputting is that each mage gets to summon this heroic figure from the past. They vary between King Arthur, Gilgamesh, and of course the great Iskandar, frickin' Iskandar, also known as Ryder, who is also known as Alexander the Great, which has great frickin' character interactions, but I'll save that for later in the video. Now, one thing you should know before getting into this series is that not only do the mages or the magus or of course the masters have intentions for what they want the Grail to offer them, but so do the servants. So the couple who wins the war gets one wish, so like the servant will also get a wish if the master wins, so it's like a win-win, if you know what I mean, which actually gives off a certain synergy and of course this compatibility with the master via servant contract, and makes for some really good character interactions. A good example of these character interactions is Alexander the Great and his master, Waver Velvet, who are polar opposites, but they still form this bond by the end of the show that just kind of forces you to tear up. You don't expect it, it just happens. A lot of people criticize Jenny Robucci or Jenny Robucher as having this kind of Game of Thrones-esque ideology for character development, but the series Fate Zero kind of counteracts their point entirely. I mean, not only does each cast member, including the servant, which is a lot, get good screen time and get good character development, but by the end, there is bound to be at least 1 or 2 members that you actually really like and want to win. Now, I'm going to be honest and come out and say that you should expect people to die. This is a Battle Royale series after all. It's not going to be like an all friendly, let's just hold hands and have a party and drink some wine or something like that, you know what I mean? And you know what they say about having good action? Well, if you have good action, then you should probably have good animation. I don't think anyone actually says that. That's probably just me. Regardless, Ufotable proves my point exactly. They are a perfect animation studio that knows, or a perfect example, of an animation studio that knows how to balance their budget. Even though the first episode, which was about 40 minutes long, which is kind of long for the first episode, normally you would want to grab the audience's attention right in the beginning, but they decided to go a different route. So normally, even though that in the first episode there's a lot of still frames, they make up for it for the great fight scenes that happen like every other episode from then on. With a fantastic track record of all the Garden of Sinners movies, or Kara no Kyokai, and now, of course, the 2014 Fate/stay night or Unlimited Blade Works, and of course, there's tons of other ones, but that's the ones I can remember right now on the top of my head. Ufotable is probably the perfect animation studio that I would want making my action anime, and they did a fantastic job overall with this one too. Now, as stated earlier, there is a large, extensive cast. There's the rogue types, assassin and his master, the killer, insane types, caster and his master, who, of course, my brain is blanking at the most important time. Then, of course, there are main characters. It's actually kind of hard to tell in this series who's the actual main character, but from what I can tell, it's going to be it's going to be Kiritsugu Emiya and Saber, and then the secondary main characters are going to be Kire and Gilgamesh, who, of course, if you've all seen Fate/stay night, or the original Fate/stay night, not the 2014 series, you all know what's going to happen with them, but I'm not going to talk about it because that would be spoilers. There was a ton more, like Alexander the Great and Wave of Velvet, who I've already talked about a little bit, and of course, even from then on, there's a lot. Like, there's all the sub-characters, and then there's all the sub-sub-characters that I could get into, but I'd like to save a little bit of room for mystery, if you know what I mean. I think one of the main reasons why this show drives people away, or at least the majority of people away, is that not only do you need at least little bit of knowledge of the servants like King Arthur or Gilgamesh or Alexander the Great, but you need at least a little bit of knowledge from the Fate universe in general. And of course, if you keep in touch with all the games and the anime and the manga, there is a lot of routes to cover. And of course, not to mention the visual novels, which is the bread and butter of it all, the thing that everything is based off of. So for those coming into this grand universe for the first time, it could be a little off-putting and shift you off your axis, which I understand, but if you power through the show, it will be very rewarding, or at least that's what I think. The ending can be debated between being an awesome ending that will just make you want to watch more and more, or can leave you unsatisfied like it did my sister. Either way, I think Fate Zero is a good attempt of what it was trying to do. Which, at the core of it all, I believe that it was just trying to bring an adult view to a high school-filled world, with Fate/stay night originally being meant for high schoolers. So yes, in the end, I liked this show. But if there wasn't Fate/stay night Unlimited Blade Works 2014 in the works, I think that this show would have been less successful than it is, because it is a prequel series to this intended route, this new route that Ufotable is once again bringing to the table. In conclusion, yes, it takes a certain kind of tongue to like this kind of show. I mean, it's got good action, yes, it's got good character development, yes, it's got good romance, yes, but those aren't the main features of this show. The main feature of the show is the plot, and because the plot is a little wonky, if I do say so myself, that it actually makes me kind of hesitant to recommend this show to any of my friends, because I know that they can sometimes be more harshly critical. But again, that is just my situation. So if you have someone you know that might like this kind of ideology concept of heroic figures coming back from the past and fighting alongside mages, then go right ahead, recommend it. But for the time being, I'm going to give this show a 7.9 out of 10. It's almost there, it's almost an 8. But, like I said, the 40-minute first episode kind of makes people upset, especially if you're not all that interested in the show in the first place. Well, everyone, it's been a pleasure. My name is KD, and welcome to Red Ink Reviews. If you feel like staying, remember to hit that subscribe button and maybe drop a like. If you're just a random viewer, well, feel free to leave a comment below telling me if you had one wish to give to the Grail, what would it be? This has been, again, KD, signing off.